So we've had Shinso's match, we've had Todoroki's match, and now it's time for Bakugo's match. Now this is something that I personally have been looking forward to for a very long time, and the reason is because Bakugo is one of, if not the favorite character that I have in My Hero Academia. For good reason, of course. I mean, I think anyone can understand why I would put Bakugo so high, and seeing him participate in this match is something that I've been looking forward to simply because we haven't really seen Bakugo fight ever since, you know, Deku versus Bakugo round 2. This is really the last time we got to see Bakugo use any type of action. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, what improvements have been made on Bakugo's end ever since that time, because he's obviously gonna want to step up his game if he's gonna stay on top of Deku, and he's also showing signs that he's learned from what All Might was saying about this whole thing about how Deku likes saving people and Bakugo likes winning, and these are the two factors that are really gonna play a big part in becoming the greatest heroes. Bakugo showed this chapter that he was willing to protect people in order to assure a victory. Now obviously they haven't won just yet, but the fact that he's willing to protect people on his team in order to progress further into the match, that is something that people, and especially myself, are looking forward to seeing. Now yes, the fact that we got to see him protect Jirou like the way he did, you know, he intercepted and just took the blow for her essentially by, well, using an attack of his own, so he didn't really take any damage, but he certainly made sure that Jirou was unharmed from whatever the fuck that guy's name is, the sword guy, the guy with the blade quirk. And I think out of all people that are surprised right now, it is Jirou, because Jirou herself would never have imagined Bakugo, the one who called her ears, you know, he doesn't even give a shit about her name earlier in the chapter, now he's suddenly protecting her, you know. There's a lot of questions going through her head probably, but at the end of the day she probably realizes, you know, well, Bakugo may seem like, you know, this really delinquent character, you know, this really rough and unrefined hero, but inside he actually has a heart, he actually cares about his team, which happens to be the case. I mean, even if it is for selfish reasons, as I think it is, at least right now, because right now it's all to do with victory at the end of the day. How he gets there, you know, he may have to sacrifice a few things, like playing solo may not be an option this time around. Bakugo realizes that, so he helps out his teammates in order to make sure that they stay in the match for as long as possible, because, well, he may not want to end up in a situation where he has to fight 1-on-4. That would be quite tricky even for Bakugo. Now we don't even know the full extent of the enemy team, and Bakugo doesn't either. So what he wants to do is obviously maximize their chances of victory, and he probably wants to show Todoroki and especially Deku whenever his match comes around as well that he performed better than they did, because he wants to be the best in the class. This is quite obvious, and in the school period, you know, he wants to be the best of the best. That's Bakugo's goal, as you would imagine. It's kind of the same with Deku, you know, Deku wants to be the best as well, though he's not quite as much of in a rush as Bakugo is, because Bakugo, he just wants to be the best through and through. It doesn't really matter what it's about, you know, be it the sports festival, he has a shared class with class 1B, or actually saving the world, you know, Bakugo is gonna do his absolute best all the time in order to make sure that he can win, and really liking what we got this chapter. Now, what I found interesting was obviously that we got to see some more quirks, especially the girl's quirk, which is obviously something we knew the name of. We knew the name was something to do with Lizard Tail Cut, which didn't really tell us a lot in itself, but what we found out this chapter was of course that she can detach her body parts, and up to about 50 of them if they're decent sizes and whatnot. And that's quite interesting because, you know, you can do quite a lot with that quirk, because each body part can also move around and stuff, so you're really seeing a lot of mobility, and obviously she's covering a lot of area with that quirk, which is quite good, especially against someone like Bakugo, because as Bakugo said, well, these body parts may not inflict as much damage, but they're pretty annoying, so he just didn't like the idea of it being so many body parts around him. He'd rather just have probably her being in one part, you know, just being her whole self. That's what Bakugo would have preferred. So that quirk is proving that it is actually, even if not a real obstacle, at least a nuisance, and that is, I mean, still a purpose in some way, you know, it's still doing something against Bakugo. But I think she has tricks up her sleeve we have yet to see, because even if she's not like the star player of this match, which I'm not sure if she is or not, she's definitely gonna be someone that's gonna pose a threat to someone. And Bakugo being the star player of Class 1A, especially in this match, I'm not sure if she's gonna be his biggest issue, you know. I think there's gonna be someone else out there that's gonna be a bigger problem for Bakugo, someone that can deal with explosions a lot better than someone like Lizard Girl. Alright, so one thing that I really want to touch upon, which isn't really a big thing, especially since it doesn't really connect with this chapter specifically, which is what Vlad said when he mentioned the whole thing with the difference between Class 1A and Class 1B, you know, which Aizawa kind of agreed on as well, which was quite interesting when he, you know, when they repeat the whole thing about how Class 1B has progressed a lot better than Class 1A has. That is something that I really found interesting reading, because it kind of shows us how Aizawa and Vlad are really looking at things a lot different, and Aizawa even kind of points out that Vlad may be a better teacher than him. That's not to say that that's the facts, of course. It's just Vlad has a very different approach when teaching Class 1B opposed to Aizawa's approach when teaching Class 1A. Class 1A may have a lot more field experience and a lot more crisis scenarios that they've been in, but Class 1B, they've just had better and more training overall. They've actually progressed better as heroes, and they've made a lot more progress with their quirks and how to use them more creatively and more effectively in general. So I really hope we get to see quite soon at some point where we're gonna see Vlad actually take an L. And what I mean by that is, obviously, during Shinso's match, I want to see Shinso's team, along with Class 1B that is, lose. And the reason isn't just because I want to see him get disappointed or whatever. I actually want to see Shinso deal with victory as well as dealing with a loss. Because right now he's had a victory with Class 1A, but what if he has to experience a loss as well? He needs to know what it's like to lose and how to really improve after the fact. You know, he needs to understand how to cope with a loss and how to learn what went wrong. How do I fix this? But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say about that part on this chapter. I don't really have too much else to say on this chapter, to be honest, even in general. But what I do want to see in this match, in the upcoming chapters, is, you know, Bakugo's relationship with the other teammates improve significantly, because I mean, this chapter is proving that, you know, there's room for it, certainly, even if we're not gonna see anything extreme. You know, I don't think we're gonna see Bakugo like carry Jirou in his arms or anything. I simply just want to see him actually acknowledge them, you know, by naming them properly, and yes, do what he did with Ochako during the sports festival, you know, show us readers and us viewers that he actually acknowledged their strength and their ferocity, whatever it may be that makes them valuable in this match. I want to see Bakugo really put them on the same level as himself for whatever reason, instead of just being completely condescending towards them, as, you know, he sometimes happens to be, or at least he makes it sound like he is. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about this chapter. Not really a huge chapter for me personally. It was a great chapter. He has not too much to talk about, honestly. At least not for me, you know. Someone else may have a lot to say about this chapter, but me personally, you know, I really enjoyed it, but he has not a lot on my mind to really talk about. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments about this chapter. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? You know, whatever, just let me know. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everybody, Toge's waifu, Toge's life.